We're coming up to our Ango period, which, as some of you know, is a traditionally intensive period of practice that goes for 90 days. It's often held in both the spring and the fall in some places. And in my center, we've held it in the fall from mid-September to mid-December. And it dates back to the days of the monsoon rains in the early days of Buddhism, when the Buddha and his Sangha would hunker down in one place while the monsoon rains came down. And they're just really focus on practice, practicing the dharma as it was practiced in those days. Zen wasn't around as Zen in those days, so they were practicing in their way. But the value of that type of intense practice in Sangha over that 3-month or so period, has really been transmitted and handed down over the generations, over the centuries, and has proven to be a very powerful and helpful kind of form, for us to deepen into ourselves. So we'll continue that tradition this coming fall. And it's nice to have a theme that the whole group can focus on. And even though we're still 5 weeks maybe away from the start of Ango, my mind is being drawn to the theme that I would like to help our Sangha investigate and appreciate for you. And that theme is making Zen your own, making your practice your own. So I'm going to share some Dharma words on that tonight to kind of set the ground, set the territory for this theme, in the hopes that it might be encouraging for you. Yeah. Maybe it'll help. Maybe it will stimulate. It's important to make your practice your own. It's very important to do that. One way to phrase it is to not be a spectator, And, of course, we come to anything new at the beginning, oftentimes, as, spectators. We're checking it out, seeing what's up with it, investigating, and, being more in the receive and process mode than necessarily the engage and participate mode. But it's important to be in participant mode and engagement mode all the time in your practice. So, I don't know all of you, but I know most of you here, online as well. And so to those of you who I've known for any period of time, don't be a spectator ever. Full engagement, is what's called for. Even now, even you're listening to me, speak, but you're actively engaged as the listener, in this. If you weren't here, I wouldn't be speaking. So. And if I weren't here, you wouldn't be listening to me. So we're creating that together. So you can be actively engaged in that listening, and then equally actively engaged in your zazen and actively engaged in whatever the next thing is. Zen promises that when you do that, that you will see yourself as the Buddha. You will be able to shift your identification and realize the truth that you are Buddha. You are awakened mind, right? Even saying the Buddha. I wish I hadn't said the Buddha, because that makes it seem like a person. Buddha means awakened mind, awakened one. Yeah, it's not a personality as we have experienced personality, and not a person the way we experience person. Right? So this is a dharma that is very, explicit in my lineage and in my experience as well. See your life as the life of Buddha. Right? So you can understand that intellectually, but do you really experience it that way? I remember asking one of my students at Naropa who'd been practicing Zen for several years, and he had heard that. And I said, so do you see your life as the life of the Buddha? And he said, yes. I said, really? He said, no. Yeah. So you can get it, but to experience it, takes a deep intimacy with yourself. Okay. So when you are being generous, maybe it's easier to see, oh yeah, it's Buddha being generous. And then you're being kind. It's Buddha being kind. It's being peaceful and calm and centered in your zazen. Oh, that's Buddha being peaceful and calm and centered. How about when you're making mistakes? How about when you're angry? How about when you're yelling? Is that Buddha making mistakes? Buddha being angry? Buddha yelling? a little, maybe not. Yeah. But that's what it takes. Yeah, to see yourself that your life is the Buddha. I'm going to expand it even further. Everything you've done, everything you're doing, that's Buddha that has done that. All the accomplishments, all the failures, all the openings, all the openness. It's Buddha. All the mistakes, all the difficult challenges. That's Buddha. That's Buddha. So the more you make the practice your own, the more you'll see that. There's ways of holding your practice that get in the way or can hinder your process of awakening to this truth. Right? You can hold it as a program. Okay, it's like, oh, well, that's the program, that's the script. Okay, so I'm just going to follow that script. Right? That's not the best way to hold it. It's very good and very helpful to commit to something. To commit to a discipline of practice, a commitment of practice. Right? But to do that with a mind that comes from your own inspiration and your own aspiration, not from, well, this is what I'm told to do, or this is what I think, a good Zen student does. So really, I want everybody to feel into what they would like from this practice, what their aspiration is. And then to find the practice and to find the commitment that really meets that aspiration. Okay. And of course, we have resources here to give you options and paths of practice. We have the 3 jewels, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. And we have a practice community, and we have a teacher. We have Dharma talks, and foundations class, and book study groups. Formal Dharma that is available to you. We have Dokusan, one-on-one interview with the teacher available to you. And we have Sangha, which is available to you, the community and everything that offers. So these aren't for other people, they're for you. So you feel into what you want, what serves you in your practice, and then take advantage of that. Making Zen your own. But who's that you? Okay, so there's a question. Making Zen your own. Maezumi Roshi often said, be intimate with yourself. You have to become intimate with yourself. That's actually this practice here, is becoming intimate with yourself. And I know the first 10 or 20 times I heard that, it kind of spooked me. It did. I don't know if it does you, but it was a little scary. I'm not sure I wanted that. Yeah, I think maybe I was afraid of what I'd find. Maybe I'm sure I had some resistance to, what I would find with that level of intimacy, at the beginning. I don't know. Does anyone else? Is that a spooky proposition, perhaps? Yeah. Okay. I'm getting. Thanks. Yeah. Thanks. I'm not like weird in this. Yeah. Yeah. Right. It can be scary, like a little disorienting, but yeah, that's what you have to be willing to do, and damn, that's where the juice is. That's where the joy is, actually, to become intimate with yourself. Yeah. Who is this you? So I want to appreciate, this question, this koan, right? Maezumi Roshi said that Zen was about closing the gap between yourself and yourself. And the first yourself has a lowercase u, and the second yourself has a uppercase y. Sorry, y. Closing the gap between yourself and yourself. Right. So we've got a little bit of a, fractal kind of going on there. Okay. It's not a duality, but it's something, perhaps a reflection or a fractal. Yeah. Mumonkan case 12, I've talked about this a few times. Master Zuigan calls his master. A few weeks ago, Myoshin mentioned this koan in his sharing about how his practice has gone over the last few months. Every day, Master Zuigan would call to himself, Master, and he would answer himself, yes. Then he would say, are you awake? He would answer, yes, I'm awake. And he would say, do not be deceived by others, anytime, any day. No, I won't. So Zuigan has, reached a level of continuous practice where he could investigate that and have that, do a little dance with himself to keep himself awake. So who are the others, that we should not be deceived by? Right? It's other people, it's society, right? Those voices. But more importantly, it's the internalized voices of other people and of social and cultural norms. That's who you can't be deceived by. The voice inside that tells you you have to be a certain way. The voice inside that tells you this is how to be a good Zen student. Right. It's the commentary. I've always loved the commentary from Mumon, Master Mumon, on this koan. He says, old Zuigan buys and sells himself. He takes out a lot of God masks and devil masks and puts them on and plays with them. What for, eh? One is calling and the other answering. One wide awake. The other saying he will never be deceived. If you stick to any of them, you will be a failure. If you imitate Zuigan, you will play the fox. So you can't even imitate Zuigan in this one. Right? You can't go about, getting up every morning and saying, Master, are you awake? Yes, I am. Don't be deceived by others, Sorry, he's already done that. So unless you can really do it, you have to watch out. You have to be able to play with your own personas, right? Not take them seriously, whether they're devil masks and God masks. But it's free play from Buddha. If you take them personally, if you take them seriously in that way, it's not a free play. And then you're trapped and you're deceived by others. So this can get, it bears investigation. What are the voices to listen to? Who is the you that you're making Zen your own? And I want to share about the precepts in this regard. This is not to say that you have to take the precepts in any way. But when we take the precepts, so we're given a dharma name by our preceptor. And what is born in that process of taking the precepts, and what is named by the dharma name is a new being. I put this out in my note yesterday. It's a new being, and it's a new being that is interstitial in between your karmic identity, with your birth name, and Buddha, the awakened one. All right? And it's like a liminal being. Of course, they're all one. They're all one. And when I see you in Dokusan, when I see you here, I see you whole. So whether or not you have a dharma name, I see you as your karmic identity and as Buddha. And if you've taken the vows, and as your dharma identity, if you will. I see them all whole. Okay. But you may not. Most likely not. That's our practice, is to be able to see ourselves whole as Buddha. Like I said at the beginning, do you see yourself as the Buddha? Do you really see your life as the Buddha? And when you do, then you will see yourself as whole. And all of those will be one. They'll be fractals of the same thing, just different sides of the sphere, if you will. Okay. So that identity is really helpful, right? Because then you can say, well, how do I make Zen my own? Well, what serves that being? Not what serves Paul. Okay, I'm going to use myself. That's my birth name. Not what serves Paul. Because then it gets tricky, right? What serves Paul? It gets selfish. It could get selfish and self-centered in that way very quickly. What serves Paul? Okay, and then you say, well, what serves Buddha? Now that's tricky too. if you don't see yourself as Buddha, and then you might have some ideas about what serves Buddha. Okay. You might follow a path that you think serves Buddha. Okay. But that being in the middle, that you've given birth to, actually. You've given birth to that. Okay, and that is a reflection of your aspiration and your vow that came from that came from who knows where. Came from the universe, and it came alive in you in the emergence of bodhicitta, the way-seeking mind, at some point in your life. And then took expression in this desire to follow this path. That's the one to ask, does this serve? Yeah. Yeah, and that one is always learning, always curious, always asking questions. Doesn't end up with fixed answers to things because they know that things are always changing. Most especially this being. Nothing permanent about it. Even if you haven't taken the vows, you can hold a space for yourself there. Yeah. What serves that being that aspires to bring alive your true self? To meet the world with intimacy, clarity, and compassion. So every day, it's an opportunity to check in to what serves and to make Zen your own, to make your practice your own every day. Every day. When you sit on the cushion, you're doing it for you. Big you. Yeah. So you have to find that place. You're not doing it for me. You're not doing it because that's the program. Right? You're not doing it for some external agenda or goal of advancement or accomplishment. It's because it is a tried and true path of deepening into your true nature, as the Dharma and the generations have shown. Yeah, and then from that place, you can look out and see what's available in your community, and in your sangha, and in your teachers. And from that place, choose how to move forward, and then you can make a commitment from that place, make a commitment from that place. So when I say don't follow a program, I don't mean don't make a commitment. Commitment is important. It's very important to bring your continuous practice alive. It supports your continuous practice. It helps you to maintain that discipline. But you're making the choice. Yeah, you make that. So we have a nice sangha here. We have a very diverse collection of people with quite a few people with considerable experience, in this practice, with decades of experience in this practice. So if you're in your first decade, you can consult, with those who have more decades, and you can always consult with me. I really welcome you to come and meet with me and discuss these things. Especially as we come up to Ango, we're still 4 or 5 weeks away, but as we come up to Ango, I'd like to encourage, those of you who want to enter Ango with us to come up with a practice plan that includes a level of practice and a level of Dokusan as well that you feel you can maintain. And I want to help you make this practice your own. Yeah, that's my goal. That's my vow. Yeah, because I don't have anything to teach you. It's the secret, open secret of Zen. I think maybe I don't say that enough, so I'm going to start saying it more. I don't have anything to give you. I don't have anything to teach you ultimately in terms of the deepest truth. I can give you some guidance. I can give you some pointers. I can give you definitely encouragement. That's my main thing I want to give you is encouragement. But the truth of your nature is something that only you can see. And you will see. So I'm here to help you with that. Thank you for your attention.